To celebrate 50 years of Maccas, we're introducing the Mac family. And with every medium or large, Mac Junior, Big Mac or Grand Big Mac meal, you'll get one of 6 free Maccas glasses, but only for a limited time. Available after 10:30am while stocks last.
The SA Betfair Edge with Claire Lindop and Miles Fitzner. Take better odds this winter racing season with Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.
Hello, everybody, and a very good morning to you. No Miles Fitzner, Cam Luke filling in for the man who's on fire this week with Andrew Bensley. I can tell you, though, Claire is always here, and that is all that matters. We do it all thanks to Betfair. What a big day of racing it is. Hello to you.
Hello, Cam. It's so nice to have someone else in the studio for a change. It's not going to rub in my face and brag about being, I think, what is he, the 4th tipster in the, he's on some sort of list where he's number 4 in Australia of tipping winners.
Is he really?
Yeah, so we quite often, Adam and I sort of roll our eyes a little bit when he has a bit of a laugh at us. So,
Hey, I'll tell you what, the most important thing is, because a big day ahead of us, we're going to get to all that and plenty more. Jess Eaton's going to join us shortly as well. It's all thanks to Betfair. And if you're backing or laying a runner this winter racing season, we are in the depths of winter right now. Take better odds with Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858. Before we get to the best of the days, the values, what we're going to lay, we do need to look back, Claire. And I'll tell you what, I don't know how much time you have actually had to cut down all the winners. I don't know how you've been able to get to this, because last Saturday was an absolute genuine fill-up.
5 winners for the show we found between us all. I'll claim that, even though there's only a couple from me, if at that. And it all started off really well in race 1. And this is what happened.
Trying to pick up again, Strike Eagle, and then Mike Khalifa, but Taunting's broken clear. Got 2 lengths clear now from Strike Eagle, and then Mike Khalifa, but Taunting's late into the rail, but it's got the first parcelled up. Taunting goes on to win for Jessica Eaton by 2 lengths.
Another winner for Michael Hipmon, and this put Jess Eaton back in front of that little premiership battle she's got going with Todd Pannell at the moment as well.
And the thing is, too, a very impressive win. A little bit green. We did hear it there in the call. Won by about 2.5 lengths in the end, but a little bit green. Wanted to lane to the rails. But this is the horse that I think's got a few more wins, I think, and a bit of a decent future ahead of it.
Plenty of upside, and also number 2, Strike Eagle, I think, one to watch. Race 2, 1,200 metre race. Winning Weather. I think we all keep underestimating Winning Weather for Leon McDonald and Andrew Lewis. Really pulled out all stops to hit the line strongly. Short Stories raced well for second as well. But really, I'm not sure about Lady Simone. Maybe one to follow again, maybe a little bit further.
Now, I want to touch on a horse that I think was tipped on the show. I'm not sure if it was you. I'm not sure if it was Miles. But Not Usual Glorious. This is a stayer, I think, going in the right direction. And one, I think, to keep an eye on, because I think if you look at the way that it does profile and the way that it's been running and the way that it won last week, I think it's got an opportunity to take a couple of better races into its resume.
Lord Boozeron swings into the stretch, 300 metres out. He's hard at it. He's in front, but Not Usual Glorious ranges up. The former Kiwi looking for 3 out of 3 here in Australia. And Not Usual Glorious takes the lead at the 150 from Lord Boozeron, who's trying to lift. Then Dr. Dependable, Canford and Star Status. But he likes the mud, this guy. Not Usual Glorious. That's 3 from 3 in Oz.
I was just going to say, Claire, before you go any further, am I being offensive by saying that this horse, and I don't mean this bad way into a connection, this horse at some point in its career will win a very good hurdle race or steeple race in Australia. And I think it's still a couple of jump seasons away. I'm not saying right now, because I actually think it's a really good stayer. But watching it and the way that it just loves the mud and loves the heavy going, I can see it being a really good hurdler. And I don't mean that to be offensive to the connections, because I think it's going to win a number of flat races in a higher order still to come.
There's some pretty decent steeple races, isn't there?
Yes.
Well, it was interesting. I see that Travis Dowdle had him in at Flemington this Saturday, but decided not to go because the track might be improving, whereas he does love the wet. And he has also been flagged for Adelaide Cup horse. So you're right. We'll be interesting to see how he continues on and whether he'll push on into the spring or give him that little bit of a freshen up again. So, but Travis Dowdle is a friend of the show and fast becoming one of our favourite trainers.
I'll tell you the only thing about the Adelaide Cup, and you can probably help me a little more here being a staunch South Australian, it might not get a wet enough track. If it was an absolute bog on Adelaide Cup, it's a horse that's going to be really hard to beat. But that time of the year, you don't often get those real heavy tracks, do you?
Yeah, well, that probably would be the doubt being in March now. It's generally always going to be pretty firm. So, but yeah, I did see that flagged as obviously the stayer and potentially where he can stay, will stay all day. So where he's going to go next.
Now, did you find Ice Crusher?
Ice Crusher was a super win for Shane Cower, Jacob Oppen, but I wasn't on him this week. I was on Carrick, which ran okay, but just was looking for that wet track specialist. But race 8, Lakes Folly, was my best for the day, which ran a nice third, but this is what happened.
Frankie Pino dropping out Ringfort. Further back is starting to close off now Lakes Folly, but the leader is K-Seri. Lakes Folly's digging in with Frankie Pino. Frankie Pino's after K-Seri, then Lakes Folly, and Frankie goes to the lead. Frankie goes on to win. Frankie Pino from K-Seri, Lakes Folly, and a ray of sunshine.
Frankie Pino was one that, of course, Miles tipped, as you'll probably let us know. Bahrain Vorster put up a nice double for him. And one of the things I'll take out of this, I think Tony and Calvin McAvoy are making a bit of a late surge for the premiership here in South Australia.
They are. An interesting thing about that is, of course, they've opened that new stable in Ballarat only a couple of months ago, and it does seem, might be totally coincidence, but it does seem to have been able to get a nice little run on the back of it with a bit of momentum.
I agree. I think they had a bit of a quiet patch there, and I say a quiet patch with, tongue-in-cheek, really, because they still won the Group 1 Goodwood, but they didn't have the winners that they might have would normally expect, but now they seem to have found their feet and back in rhythm again.
Now, the big goodbye. The
last race, this was... Obviously, the Goodbye was one of Adam's specials. This is a pretty impressive type of horse and certainly one for us to follow. Out of that race, I think he's exclusive. I think I might put a line through that one. It sort of keeps sucking us in, but Goodbye was pretty impressive. But today we head out to Murray Bridge. The track is a bit wet, but I might wait till Adam joins us to have a chat about how he might think the races will play there.
Looking forward to that. Best of the day, value bets, lay of the day, all not too far away, of course. We'll get Adam and, of course, Jess Eaton not too far away as well, having an outstanding season, as you alluded to, with that win last week and putting her nose back in front. I do want to ask you, though, about Jamie Carr, because she's on the verge of making history today in Flemington. Never has before Metropolitan Victoria, Metropolitan Melbourne had 100 winners. Brett Preble, 99.5 winners back in 99 and 2000. She's only got a few to go, and there's someone that I assume you know particularly well, both in and out of the jockey's room.
Oh, she's awesome, Jamie Carr. I mean, we keep talking her up, and there's not really any more words you can describe but how well she's going. And I think the most important thing about this record is that it's going to be a record. She's going to set a whole new record. It's not a female record, blah, blah, blah. And we all get sick of that. And I think that, especially in the industry, it's nice to have that recognition, I think, outside the industry as well. And Jamie's certainly been a bit of a shining light on the industry for that reason. But within the industry, it is just you jockey in your own talent and take on your merits. So I'm pretty proud of that. But I've got to say, I didn't know that Brett was on 99.5 because now I think a half a win is counted as a whole win, because in a horse's form, it's counted as a whole win. So why should a jockey have a half win? So I'm sure Brett will be feeling totally annoyed by that stat.
It's a very good point, though, because you don't see half a win when you go through the horse's form and you don't say, oh, there's only whatever it might be. So I do agree. I do want to embarrass you just quickly before the break, because I did... And I think that a lot of athletes in their careers look back on different things and perceive it and understand it more once they've retired. And I did notice that you, in that Racing.com article that I read, said that you look back on it and now understand a lot more as to how you may have helped the Jamie Carrs of the world.
Thanks, Cam. I think, the expression, the fullness of time, I suppose it's a bit of a cliche, but, in the moment when you're riding in races, you're really focusing on day to day and getting the job done. And sometimes, I'd never really handled media pressure that well. And that's something that Jamie seems to really do well. And whenever I was always asked, come on, Claire, come and do this photo. You're going to be the first girl to ride in the Derby or the first girl to do X, Y, Z. All I wanted to do was stick in my normal routine and, stick to my preparation for that race or that event. And I really actually didn't handle the media that well at all. So I probably put some media offside. So I'm probably lucky I didn't get nice articles written about me, to be honest. But, yeah.
Well, the best thing about that is now, and firstly, I think that there's no doubt that you've had a huge bearing on so many of these young jockeys' careers, in particular female jockeys who we see excel right now, and Jamie Carr is one of them. But two as well, you are the media now. Be it here at SEN Track or at racing.com, so you can do whatever the hell you want. So that's the best part of that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So though Mel still tells me I don't pay out enough jockeys, he thinks I'm still on the jockey side. So I normally defend a bad ride rather than stick the boots in. But Jamie's flying, and I hope that she does ride 100 winners at Flemington, because it'd be nice to do it there at headquarters, and also to get the media off her back and give her that bit of a breather, and to achieve it.
Another jockey in fine form is Jess Eaton. We've mentioned her a couple of times. She's going to join us on the other side of the break. If you're backing or laying a runner this winter racing season, it's easy. Take better odds on Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858. A very quick break. Jess Eaton next.
The SA Betfair Edge with Claire Lindop and Miles Fitzner. Take better odds this winter racing season with Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1800 858 858.
We are having a very nice morning. Claire Lindop, Cam Luke filling in for Miles Fitzner. Murray Bridge is where we're going today. Best bets, value bets, what we're going to lay very shortly, all thanks to Betfair. And if you're backing or laying a runner this winter racing season, take better odds on Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1800 858 858. And Claire, as always, when you need with Fitzy, you need a special guest, you're always able to get the superstars to join us.
Yeah, we've got one of our very own, Jess Eaton, online. Thanks for joining us, Jess.
Thanks for having me.
At the moment, you're in a bit of a premiership race, and I'm really sorry. As a jockey, I used to hate this all the time, but now I'm in the media, I'm going to annoy you with it. So you came to South Australia just over 12 months ago now, without a lot of introductions, just came over here and you've really set the world on fire over here in South Australia and came out of your apprenticeship in January. Have you found it a little bit tough to re-establish yourself as a senior rider?
No, not necessarily. I think I've had really good support, and I think that mainly boils down to the support Michael Hickmott's given me from the very start, and he's been well and truly able to support me into my transition into a senior, and that has certainly made things a lot easier for me. It's not something I have stressed about since becoming a senior. I think 6 months ago I might have been a bit worried about how things might go into becoming a senior, but I think I've been very lucky in a smooth transition into how things have gone, and I've been very fortunate to get the support I have to date.
Is it something that you are focused on, win the premiership?
Look, it's a great position to be in, and I certainly am going to try my hardest to win the premiership. It's a position I never expected to be in, that's for sure, but I am very realistic in the competition I've got against me, and Todd's an extremely good rider, so I know he's going to keep me very honest, and it's going to be a tough grind for the next couple of weeks until the end of the season.
Jess, you mentioned there, of course, you take the leap, you come over here, and of course the support you've got, but it also helps when you're riding so particularly well. Confidence and momentum just all can continue to roll. Is this, when you get on a horse right now, do you have the most confidence that you're riding better than you ever have?
For sure. I think just the support I've been given coming over here has really helped consolidate me as a rider and helped me ride with a lot more confidence, and I think that's definitely transitioned into my riding and into the progression into becoming a senior, and I feel a lot more comfortable and settled as a rider now, and I think I'm riding better than ever.
Oh, good answer. I think, do you have a favourite track here in South Australia? Murray Bridge, do you consider that your home track where the races are today?
I think I'd be mad not to. I do track work there daily, so Murray Bridge is certainly the home track, but Morfordville's a beautiful track to ride on. I can't go past the big track at Morfordville.
Yeah, I agree with you. I reckon that Morfordville 1200 metre race is probably one of the fairest starts in Australia. I think it's a really good track. But, of course, we're probably concentrating on Murray Bridge today. We just thought we might talk through your rides there. Unless, sorry, Cam, did you have another question? We're doing
No, let's fire away. I think there are listeners right now who are very excited to be able to find it, because I think there's a few at value that Jess rides today as well. So take it away, Claire.
Yeah, she's always good at the values. So it's just starting off in race 1,000 metre maiden. You're riding a horse there called the Trance Factor. What can you tell us about this horse trained by Ron Daniels?
Look, he's obviously quite a roughie. We'll be doing our best to prove his form and hopefully run a cheeky race, but he's certainly not in the market, and I think there's good reason for it.
In race 2, Hibbity Dibbity, I think it's well and truly over the odds, and you've got to jump on Betfair right now, all your punters out there right now, but you got a nice bit of value, and it got beat a little while last start by a horse that I really like later in the day as well. What can you tell us about this? Because I think it's a great each-way play. I
couldn't agree more. It's a nice pick-up ride. I only got this late on the day of acceptances, so I was really excited to have been offered the ride. I think both of Shane's horses will be very competitive in that race, but I really like the way that this horse runs. She puts herself on speed and makes her own luck. I had a little chat to Justin Potter, and he gave me plenty of confidence going forward about the ride, and I think if it's not too wet, she should run really well.
Smart trainer, Shane Oxlade too. Race 3, now you're riding Pindaric for Michael Hickmott, as you said, the great partnership you've had with Michael. This perhaps might be your best ride on paper for the day. I wanted to in your thoughts of how the track might actually play as well. I probably should have asked you that at the start of the day, being that sort of soft track. You've drawn barrier 10 in Pindaric, which is only a field of 11, so it's going to be a little bit awkward to go forward. Will you still go forward, or will you try and sit off the rail at all? Have you had any thoughts about that yet, or are you just going to wait till see how the first races pan out?
Definitely going to see how the first races pan out, but I think off the way Murray Bridge has been racing over the past few meetings, you wouldn't really be in a mad rush to be on the fence, especially if the track is on the softer side. Pindarrick specifically, I think he's better off drawing wide. He's a very, very big animal. He prefers his space, and I don't think I'll be fighting him too much to take a sit, just because he's a big striding horse that loves his momentum. So he'll definitely be on speed regardless, see how much speed there is around me. But I'll be doing my best to keep him comfortable, and his track work's been great. So I'm really looking forward to being back on him. And I think 57.5, I think he's got, is quite suitable for him. It's probably the lightest weight he's had in a long time.
In the race 5, you got Big Daryl at a nice little each way price, bit of value as well. Gets an opportunity to, I think, again, run a nice race. Was a little slow away, but wasn't too bad last start. So from that gate, I'm assuming you're going to hopefully jumps a little bit better than last start and be able to push forward.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the start with Big Daryl's key. Being barrier 4, it makes my job a little bit easier. But he seems to be quite an honest and consistent galloper. So it's I'm looking forward to riding him, and hopefully he can keep that consistency on the board.
Race 6, we move to another 1,000-metre race where there's a few chances across this race, I believe. You're riding a horse called Delusions for Michael Hipmont, which is the first start he's had here in South Australia, or she, I beg your pardon, for Michael. Hasn't raced on soft, heavy tracks before, has had 5 starts for nothing on the soft. Do you have a feeling about how she might have been handling some of the work on the soft track and how she might go first up with Michael?
Well, her last piece of work was on quite a wet track at Murray Bridge, and I was very, very happy with how she galloped. She's obviously new to the stable, so we're still learning a lot about her, but everything, the feel she's given me to date's been great. It is an open race, but I'm actually quite confident about her chances. She's probably one of the ones I'm particularly looking forward to ride and seeing how she goes. Obviously, we are still learning a bit about her, but off her track work, I'm very happy with how things are going.
Race 7 cannot be serious. It was a little bit disappointing last prep, but I think there's a fair bit of rain about, of course, in South Australia. We're not exactly sure how much Murray Bridge is going to get over the course of the day, but you'd think with Cannot Be Serious, the wetter the better?
Yeah, Cannot Be Serious has certainly been a good horse to me, and I think with a little freshen up out at Wellington, this horse has come back really well. His track work's been super. His last gallop was with Pindarrick, and both worked very, very well. So it was hard to split the two of Michael's in the race, and I did end up choosing to stick with Cannot Be Serious, and he's generally quite consistent. So I'm thinking he'll be putting his best foot forward on Saturday.
Just for listeners out there, Jess, sorry, Wellington, is that just like another spelling place that you have just outside of Murray Bridge?
Wellington's Michael's big farm that he bought, so he has the opportunity to send horses out there for a bit of a freshen up and just to feel good. So I think it's an added advantage to Michael and his training that he's got that facility, and you certainly notice a difference in horses when they come back from there.
Well, that'll be good. It'll be interesting to see, because sometimes with those older horses, just tweaking around a few things makes all the difference. And then can we come to the last race?
This is pressure.
There's
a lot of pressure here. Nothing worse when you get a cranky owner who likes to be heard.
Race 9, you're riding number 2, Munster. And now I'm so excited to have you on the show without Miles here. So now you can actually tell us the truth. Is this horse really just a donkey, Jess?
Look, I probably wasn't overly fond of Munster in his previous prep. I thought he did have the tendency to turn it up a little bit late, but I honestly can't fault this horse. His last 2 runs I've been ultra impressed with. He's certainly tried really hard throughout the line. It's been tough, and that probably hasn't been a trait of his in the past. Obviously, Will Clarkin's 2-year-old looks like quite a smart horse, so it's not going to be an easy race for him, but he's certainly running really well this prep, and I'm really pleased that he's furnishing into it quite a nice galloper. So hopefully we can try and get that placing better than second.
To be fair, his last 2 placings have been behind some nice, smart horses too, and Great Z and Great Diviner. I'm not sure whether 2-year-olds actually get into these races very well at the weight. So I'm going to say it's wrong. Bellerio has to carry 57.5, and Munster obviously has to carry 61.5. But it's not a great big weight difference between the 2 horses. Is it a concern, or do you think it's an issue, Jess, when you're thinking carrying 61.5 on a soft track? How do you go riding in 61.5 when you're also riding 54? Like, do you have some nice gear that you use for heavy rides, or that sit on nice, or how do you sort of do that? Just packing lead in the saddle?
Yeah, look, I've got some really good gear. Christine Pools has helped hook me up in the past with some really good weighted lead bags that distribute the weight really evenly on the back and sit really well. So I haven't really found heavyweight rides an issue in the past, and I do tend to agree with Will's horse. I was surprised it did get 57.5, so that might be an advantage for me. But look, I think this horse should run well.
Yeah, I hope you win on Munster. Be good fun. Yeah.
How much just on that? How much pre or
Miles
post?
happy.
Well, how much pre or post advice do you get from Miles when you ride a horse of his?
Nah, Miles is pretty good. He doesn't really annoy me before the race, and it's good to see him when he is there. He was right with his last performance, so hopefully we can keep him happy.
Oh, that's good. Well done, Jess. You're an ultimate professional. That's why we love you. Yeah.
Hey, before we let you go, Jess, your best of the day, when you're looking at your rides at Murray Bridge, is the one you're leaning towards?
Look, I'm probably most looking forward to hopping on Bindaric.
And fair enough, too. The punters around the country are like that. Yes, Claire, you like that too?
Yeah, I do love that too. But I did wonder if Delusions was one that you're going to throw out as your value. Was that the one that you might have mentioned today?
Value, definitely Delusions would be my next best.
Yeah, I'm putting pressure on you. Well done, Jess. Good luck today.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Jess Eaton, she is a superstar and, of course, not just a great book of rides today, but a huge month ahead as she continues to ride so particularly well. Backing or laying a runner this winter racing season? Take better odds on Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.
The SA Betfair Edge with Claire Lindop and Miles Fitzner. Take better odds this winter racing season with Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.
And if you're backing or laying a runner this winter racing season, as we head towards a big day of racing. And I'll tell you what, Claire, who is here with myself, Cam Lucas, Miles Fitzner has he's not even going to sleep in because he'll be up very shortly on SEN track, and he's got a big day, of course. We've spoken a lot about Munster. As always, Adam joins us this time each and every week. Hello to you.
Here he is, the cool mince. Hello, Adam.
I'm still here. How are you guys?
We've got the music. Your best got up last week, Not Usual Glorious. The team had 5 winners, and so we're looking at Murray Bridge today. 9 races on the card. Just wondering how you think the track might play. There's been a bit of rain around here in Adelaide. It's a soft 5 at the moment on the form I'm looking at, but I think it's going to go up perhaps a 6. What are your thoughts on the track?
I'm hoping, as we know, rain often misses race courses, and I'm hoping that's sort of the case. But up until sort of lunchtime Friday when I last checked, they'd only had 2 mils, hoping that it stays in that 5 range. But you might be right, it might be downgraded to a 6. But rail was in the normal position the last 2 meetings, 19th of June, 23rd of June. For today is out 6 metres from the 800 to the winning post and 3 metres in the 1200 shoot. I'm thinking hopefully the track plays pretty fairly. I mean, it usually does. Just hopefully it doesn't sort of deteriorate too much and we don't get any worse than a 6.
Love it. Let's get into it. We'll look at race 1 over 1,000 metres. We're going to a little short pricey resuming. He has some good first up form. No Name Lane drawn tricky though from barrier 10. Yowza's going to be fairly hard to beat in my opinion at $3.80 around that mark, and Maconi as well, the 3 that are in the market. I've been thinking, I don't know where you sit, Claire, I don't know where you sit, Adam, but I'm thinking about laying this as well. Tricky gate. First up form is okay as well, but interesting race to resume for No Name Lane.
I agree. Listen, I think the track's going to suit. The Murray Bridge will suit. I'm not so sure the 1,000 metre suit. Good speed in the race sort of helps it. But I always thought the horse sort of needed further. Now, $2.40 I think is about what's the best going around at the moment. That won't get me. It's had 2 barrier trials. The last barrier trial was in the same trial as number 5, She's a Still. Now, I'm not sure if you had a look at that, Claire, but if you had a look at that trial, you would say that She's a Still has got nearly as good a chance as No Name Lane. Or I think it actually jumped out better, but take into account sort of race conditions and everything, you'd probably say No Name Lane is still, probably, deserves to be in front of it in the market. But She's still had 1 run for John Hickmott back in April and wore blinkers and didn't do a lot. It's had the blinkers off. It had 2 trials, one with earmuffs where it wasn't knocked around, and then without the earmuffs when it trialled against No Name Lane and went really well. I think it's a chance at $12. I think it's worth having something on.
I'm going to play it pretty straight bat here and go with number 8, Maconi, Dom Tournier, Henry Dwyer. It's only had the 2 starts. It's because it's been running really well. I'm in both of your camps here. No Name Lane, I think, probably wants further than 1,000 metres. And I'll be risking it at the odds and trying to find something else with a bit more value. I did like that little push there for She's Estelle from you, Adam, but I thought I might back number 8, number 2 in this race.
All right, the second over the 1,200 for the 2-year-olds. Roxy Blue is going to be very hard to beat resuming. Brazen Boy, but they call me Elvin, a horse that, of course, loves the track. Gets up to the 1,000 after a couple over 900 at Murray Bridge. Jazib is another one that showed a bit on debut, but again, drawn a little trickily in the rest. You can probably write your own ticket on a Betfair. What are you thinking, Adam, here?
I think it's a really interesting race. Roxy Blue resumes, first up 1,200. That's a pretty, hard task normally. It's had, I think, 1 or 2 jump outs, but probably jumps to the front. I think one of them will win, Roxy Blue, or one of the top 2. Roxy Blue first pick, but not a bet for mine at the current price.
I'm all over Roxy Blue, number 5 for Travis Dowdle. I think that's definitely the way to go. It's obviously been raced in a listed race in its last prep towards the end of its campaign. 1,200 first up might be a little bit of a query. I'm a big fan of They Call Me Alvin. Brazen Boy, I thought maybe 1,200 might be against Brazen Boy. It did win over 900 its last start. And the other one I do like is Hibbity Dibbity, Jess Eaton's ride. I think that Shane Oxlade's a pretty good trainer, and these two are probably, his pair are probably some chance as well, but I'm going to go number 5, Roxy Blue.
Race 3, Pindaric. We've already spoken to Jess Eaton all about it. The 1,200 metre, the BM78. It's pretty short, but as well it should be. Resuming, has good first up form with 2 for 2 wins. Street Tough, Jacob Opperman, who we did see go to Melbourne during the course of the week as well to ride at Sandown on Wednesday. Gets a couple of kilos off the back of Street Tough. Left Hand Man is another horse that's having an okay prep without being able to yet get home first. But I think Jess spoke glowingly of it. Claire and I are both in this corner as well. Pindaric for you, Adam?
No, I've got it favourite, but nothing like it is. I think there's good speed in the race. It's got the blinkers on, it can lay in. I'm sure that sort of, this would be, it probably always needed the blinkers. First up, don't think it's had a barrier trial or a jump out. Good speed in the race. I'm going to risk it at the current price. And I thought there were a couple of roughies. Flying Awards since it ran here, has gone back to Melbourne and had a jump out with blinkers on and went a lot better. Now, it's about 20-1. I think it's got a chance. And I think Lara Shess has got a chance. And of Street Tough, I've got second pick. But, yeah, I'm going to risk Pindaric at the price it is, but do have it first pick. And I've had something on Real Ruffy and Flying Award.
I love Pindaric. I am with him, but I do take what you're saying in account there, Adam. I thought Street Tough also was a chance with Jacob Opperman on board. And, of course, Just Chipping Away, which Miles does have as his value bet for the day as well, for people who just wanted to know what Miles might have picked. Just Chipping Away, Darryl Dodson obviously loves the wet tracks, loves the soft, and Kayla Crowther takes the ride. Stormberry too, so I think sort of by race 3 we're going to have some sort of idea whether they might be sitting off the fence or not. Plenty of speed in this race, probably with Isolde Maxine going forward. So does that mean there's too much pressure up front with Pindaric working forward? But I think Jess will be able to work that out a little bit. But I'm sticking with Jess, number 5, Pindaric.
I'm with you too, but an interesting call there at Flying Award, who ran in much better races last year and with the blinkers, as you touched on, with the jump out. So if it's able to improve with the blinkers and that jump out was an indication, I think Flying Award at the odds is a nice one, Adam. So one for punters to think about. Let's get to race number 4. Over the 1,200 metres, struck by, again, drawn awkwardly. You've seen a few of these favourites drawn a little bit awkwardly today. $3.20, Zoo Shines are $3.30, Spin Lola Bays around the $5.50 mark. Quietly Discreet, again, was pretty disappointing last start, but in saying that, you can always give. I'm a very forgiving type of person, and if the track's not going to get to the real heavy, I reckon it's an opportunity to run well as well. But I think I'll stay out of this. Adam, you got one for us?
I think it's a really good race. Struck by resumes, no jump out, no trial. I'm not sure how they're going to ride it. They might even go forward because there doesn't really look to be any real pace in the race apart from Rialto, and it's in at Port Augusta on Sunday. So I'm not sure whether it's going to run today or not. Zushine's had 2 jump outs, but not the last one was the 2nd of June, so that's a fair gap. Quietly Discreet won really well on the synthetic. May have had minor op before that run, minor straight op. And then came out and was sort of disappointing at Sandown, but it pulled up with EIPH. So happy to forgive for that run. I've always sort of liked Quietly Discreet, and if they've got it right, I'm sure it can win. I've got little between Struck by, Zoo Shine and Quietly Discreet, but at the value, I'm going to have something on Quietly Discreet.
Quite discreet. The concern with her is the track. I agree with you. Just seeing how if it's going to be that soft by first couple of races and have a look at where the pattern is. And again, with my pick, number 12, Spinola Bay, from barrier 1, when she likes to get back and come round them, is that going to be disadvantage being in there? So that was my caution. But I did like Spinola Bay as a horse, and I think it might be the type of horse you sometimes see this when they finally break through and put a win on the board, they go on and win the next couple. And that's how I feel about her, watching her in her races. Struck By, I'm probably prepared to risk at this stage. First up, although I see Miles likes him, and as we know that Travis Dowdle's a pretty astute trainer. But I think Struck By might be have its sight sets on some better horses in the spring. So you probably wouldn't, if you were the training, you probably wouldn't want it to be at its best first up today. That's what I'm trying to read into it as well anyway. So I thought I'd go number 12 for a little bit of value here. And Zushine,
got a race.
Sorry, Cam.
No dramas. Zushine's another one, and as Adam mentioned, it's a very, very good race and very tough for the punters out there. And I think the fact that there's about 5 or 6 different horses we've thrown up there gives that indication. Let's get to race 5, the BM60 over the mile. Exalted Fire dropped back to its own grade, its own age group last start and won. Now trying to go back and win 2 in a row. It's holding favouritism. She's a Karaka. This is an interesting horse as well. Probably drops a little bit in a grade, but has got to be able to, I think, from that gate, find the right spot in transit. There's 2 I like here. There's She's a Karaka, but there's also Sky Hero, who I thought just got a bit too far back last start at Morfordville. Was able to get a bit closer in the run. I think that Sky Hero's won at value as well, normally in the double or around the double figure odds at the moment. But again, another tough race here, which is a real indication of the day.
Yeah, it is. It's a really even race. My market, I've got 2 horses favourite at about $8. So I'm really wide in this. Agree with you, Sky Hero. I reckon it went okay last start. I reckon it'll go a lot better in this today. I think it's the one I was going to have something on at about the $10 mark, and a couple of really mad roughies. I thought Harbouring about 40 to 1, was a roughie with a chance. But in a really even race, I'd probably go for Sky Hero as the one that's the value.
I was on Sky Hero last start, and I think maybe he just wants further. This is only a mile here, and I see its winning record hasn't won till up it's over 2,000. But maybe because it's such an open race, and he's looking for that soft track as well. So he's probably certainly one to watch. But I actually found one here at value. Number 4, Wild Colonial Boy here, Jason Holder, Michael O'Leary. I just think that these are the kind of races where you look at something like this, it might just bob up. It's drawn awkward in 16, but that might not be such a disadvantage, I think, by race 5 to be out getting a little bit of that fresh ground. So I've got number 4, Wild Colonial Boy, with a lot of confidence, but I just thought for each way. The other one I do like, is Turntable, Paul Gatt. Again, likes soft track. Jake Stevens, not a bad trainer, and might suit it here, the big track at Murray Bridge. But I thought I'd go number 4, Wild Colonial Boy, each way.
Now, if we thought that race 5 was open, I think race 6, Adam's going to be pretty close to it as well. He's a bolter's probably holding the favouritism at Betfair right now, but and won here a couple of starts back. If you look at Harpooner as well, resumes today, Rock Harbour. We'll get to that shortly because it's a horse that runs pretty well first up fresh as well. But this is an extremely open race. And Delusions is one that earlier Jess Eaton gave us a bit of a push towards as well. She thinks he can run a nice race. So, Adam, I'll leave it to you, brother. Talk to us how you mark this field.
And it's a really good race. Good pace in the race. Ravens Blaze, Damascus Moment, Harpooner, Just Cappy. They'll all go forward. I think He's a Bolt is a massive risk. I've got it nothing like the price it is, $5. I think it'll drift. I don't want to back it. And the other one that I'm going to risk at the current prices is Rock Harbour. It's about $7, and I think that's far too short. Harpooner resumes. It's the one with the upside. Had a jump out at Cassidy recently and went really well. Wasn't knocked around at all, and I thought it went really well. As I said, I think it's the one with the most upside, and I think the other one that might be suited that can be running on is Jungle Sensation. I think it's got a good chance too, but I'm Harpooner.
I think the Harpooner is a nice horse. We followed it when we went over to Melbourne. I remember Adam, you sort of pushed us into it, and I only just got beaten at Moonee Valley in its last prep. But I actually thought maybe Smart Alec, Karen Burns, soft track, Stacey Metcalf drawn well, might be one on odds as well. But I tend to do that, look around at some of the value. But I mean, Just Cappy as well is a horse that's one of the soft, goes well. Brian Mueller, Justin Potter. But I'm surprised that Rock Harbour, you said you thought it was a bit too short to back, because I thought that it might have been the way to go with number 5, Rock Harbour, Kayla Crowther, David Jolly. So I was going to pick that one, even though it's against your advice, Adam.
Got a chance, but I think the $7 is too short. But it did at a trial or a jump out recently, went pretty well. But I just think its best form is still about 4th pick in this.
Melody Man, as we head towards a race number 7 over the 1400, resumed and ran pretty well for Jake Stevens, of course, from that yard. And this is a tough race. Greetings, Ned's another horse who's had an opportunity. Just Folk was, look, disappointing, but in saying that, I think worth another chance. I'm a very forgiving type, Adam, so I'm not going to just roll out Just Folk in this particular race after being disappointing last start. And I think a tougher race. And another one a little bit further down, if you're in the forgiving type, Vancity Gem. And even if you go all the way down to Campbell Barilla's ride, number 5, this again is an open race, and there's plenty of value to be had today.
It's a race where I think it's a bit tricky, because I don't think there's a lot of pace in it. I think there's only a few horses that I think cannot be serious, will probably go forward. Now, Vancity Gem's got the blinkers off, so maybe they won't be going forward on it. And the only other one that I can see maybe pushing forward from a wide draw is Miss Marina. Marina. So I can't see them going that quickly. All the favourites in this race, the favourite Melody Man ran really, really well last start. If this was a mile race, I'd be launching. I think 1400, staying at the 1400, it was a little bit one pace last start. It's the best horse in the race, I think, going forward, Melody Man. I think it's too short. Greetings, Ned. It's 2 runs for Dennis O'Leary since it transferred from Michael O'Leary have been really good. Its last win was really good. It's the one also that'll be getting back and running on. So really tricky race. This stage, I can't have a bet at the odds that are available.
I thought I'd found one here, number 14, Battle Blitz, Jason Holder, Liam McDonald, Andrew Lewis. Look, really lovely type. Rebel Raider out of reliability, which likes the wet. Thought it was a nice run. Its first up, last start with Felicity Atkinson on the stable apprentice, and I thought it just needed to run a little bit in the line. But I think the concern is, as Adam just said, the lack of speed in the race. I thought, I might have a tiny little bit on it because it's big odds, but not a lot of confidence, because you do need speed on if you're going to be a back market to get home over the top of them. And for that reason, I thought maybe I would stick with number 2, Greetings Ned. Jacob Opperman, it's drawn well. I know it tends to get back in its races, but I just think from the inside gate, it's just probably going to lob there a little bit closer without trying. And maybe, it might still be about midfield, but I think that might be the way to go. So I'm going to go number 2, Greetings Ned.
Race number 8 over the 1800. Jaguar, who's got outstanding soft form, of course. He retains favouritism at the moment, and it's going to be very hard to beat, you would think. Trying to get 3 in a row. Irish Butterflies had a little bit of market support as well. Stan the Caddy. I actually like one in this race, Adam. Love and Peace, number 11. You can get a little bit of odds at it. I think up to the 1800 metres is going to help a little bit. It was okay without setting the world on fire over the mile at Sandown last start, but I think up to the 1800. Keeping in mind too, it got beaten about 5.5 lengths. It was about 5 lengths behind Acceleration, who had a fair bit of market support at Sandown before getting scratched at the gates on Wednesday. So it comes out of a race that punters sort of think have a little bit of form out of. So Love and Peace at double figures for me is one that I'll be playing at least each way.
Interesting, because I had a phone call during the week from someone who said that McAvoy's have sent 12 over. I think 12 might have been more than that. They're desperate to win the premiership.
Yeah, he's having a crack at the premiership, that's for sure. Yep.
Now, this one has got, this has obviously been the race they picked out for it. It had blinkers off before its first up run. Normally wears them. It's had 2 runs. It's got blinkers back on today. It steps up to the 1800. And, I agree. I think it's one that's got a good chance. I think it's not cut and dry. I think Jaguar is first pick. I'm about $4 favourite. So at this stage, I can't back it. And the other ones that I was interested in were Love and Peace. And happy to risk Stan the Caddy. I think it's far too short. The other one that I thought had a good chance and could run a race was Celtic Valor, Peter Blanchard's horse. It won really well last start. It looks like it's got upside, and I've had something on it. But I'm Jaguar first pick, but the value may be Celtic Valor.
Jaguar, I like number 2. Travis Dowdle again. Jacob Opperman taking the claim. I thought it was looked the goods here, but again going for 3 in a row. I like what you're saying about Love and Peace, and I think I might have to follow you guys in with a little something there. The other one, Dr. Didi, again, Daryl Dodson, Melissa Julius taking the claim. When it's sort of always tricky to watch Daryl Dodson's horses. He runs them across the border, and obviously his last start was in the Absolute Cup, and it raced quite well. And then he brings them back over and gets under our guard a little bit. So I thought that's one to watch, and Miles has put that in as his next best, number 5. Classy Joe, some chance as well for John Hickmont. These are the kind of races where sometimes you get something like that bob up and knock you all out of the quaddie.
True, and it is frustrating for us punters. And hopefully, though, we've got our pockets full as we get to the last of the day. I know I'm going to stuff up the name of this favourite. Is it Blue? Is it Blue Riot? How do you say it?
Blairio.
Blairio. There we go. Told you I'd stuff it.
Apparently, it's named after the first pilot who flew across the English Channel or something.
Okay, well, there you go.
There's some story about that.
Well, the 2-year-old filly takes on the older horses again. It's in ripping form, and it's pretty short, to be fair. Munster, we spoke to Jess Eaton about it, of course, and Miles Fitzner having a nice little interest in that as well. So there's the two. They're at the top of the market, but I think you made a really good point about the weight earlier, Claire, because it has got 57.5, but on exposed form, you think it's the best horse in the race, but has to carry that weight as a 2-year-old filly is going to be very hard to do. Adam, what did you make of it?
Yeah, it's really hard when horses win races like big margins like it did on sort of weight ratings. It's really sort of a bit of a guess, but I'm leaning its way. I think it's clearly first pick, and I think Munster's clearly second pick. I'd really doubt if anything else can win, and the fact that Magic Miles has tipped Blairio worries me when he owns Munster because he's normally in its corner. So, yeah, I'm Blairio for mine.
Maybe Miles is trying something different because he's been tipping Munster and keeps on running second, so maybe he's trying to not put the mock on his own self. Yeah, tough race. I actually was looking to tip against Munster and tip against Blairio because I don't think 2-year-olds get in very well, as you talked about. Although this time of year, I wonder if it makes that much difference because they are all about to turn 3 anyway. So I guess that's sort of one thing in the back of the mind. But it is hard to sort of find how the horse is looking exposed form. Bond Pegasus won okay its last start. Likes the wet. Garrett Lynch, he sort of bobs up home track. Celtic Rebel, number 5. Byron Vorster, McAvoy. If they haven't had a winner throughout the day, I'll be trying to back him in the last as well because I think that they are sort of here and the horses look like they're all finding form again. But I thought I might go number 2, Munster, just to if I pick Miles' horse when he hasn't picked him, I'll really enjoy picking Munster and then be able to rub that into Miles' face so he can pick his own horse.
Beautifully done. Before we do let you go, Adam, just want to recap which way you're really going to lean if there's one you really have to get pushed in over the course of the card.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, Miles. Sorry.
My apologies.
So you want to have the...
We'll keep Adam on for next segment, so just wrap it up.
Oh, we have him
here.
for next segment? Yeah. Okay, my apologies. Yeah, cool, sweet. All right, I'll reset again. Beautifully done. You're right to hang around, Adam. We'll take a break and we'll wrap it up on the other side of this. Our best, our value, our lays of the day. It's all thanks to Betfair. Backing or laying a runner this winter racing season, take better odds on Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.
The SA Betfair Edge with Claire Lindop and Miles Fitzner. Take better odds this winter racing season with Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.
We're running out of time. Big day ahead of us. Backing or laying a runner this winter racing season. Take better odds on Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858. I'll start with you, Adam. Best of the day. You got a little bit of value. What are you laying?
I'm going to go Harpooner as my best. It's not massive value, but it's the sort of the one I like for the day that I'm happy to be on at around the $5 mark. The value I'm going to make race 4, number 4, Quietly Discreet, and I'm going to make my lay race 3, number 5, Pindaric. I'm just ridiculously short.
My best comes up in race number 2, number 5, Roxy Blue. My value, race 5, number 4, Wild Colonial Boy. I'm laying race 1, number 2, No Name Lane. And the producer's tip is race 3, number 4, Flying Award.
Who I think will run well. I'm laying the same as you. I'm with you there, Claire. I don't think No Name Lane can get the job done. My best of the day is a Blairio. Later in the day, race 9, number 13. And a bit of value, as we spoke about earlier. Race 8, number 11, Love and Peace. So looking forward to that. Adam, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Talk next week.
See you, Adam.
Claire, it's been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure to be on air with you, Cam, even though I keep talking over you. Sorry about that.
Don't worry about that. As long as we get winners, that's all that matters. And make sure you're back or lay a runner this winter racing season. Take better odds on Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858. Good punting right across South Australia.